The heavy hearted 80s baby in the carpet, straight running out of lives, the level getting restarted. Pay attention, that's not all you remember. You think I'm Hayabusa the way I'm guiding these ninjas, a shredder of competition. They call me Master Splinter. I wish a body would like I was floating in the river.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is the Eric Barber here, and I am joined with Detroit producer, Nerdcore legend, esports guru, all things pop culture, Mark Cooper. How we doing today, man?
I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
I'm great. Thank you, bro. So we are kind of on the heels. You're in a crowdfunding process for one of your upcoming projects. I believe it's called the Orange Tape. So if you could tell us what exactly is the Orange Tape?
Sure. Well, the Orange Tape is actually a tribute to Nickelodeon for 45 years of Happy Birthday, and it's going to be a whole bunch of different music, tribute, all types of stuff. It's going to be super fun.
Okay, that's what's up, man. And I was kind of looking at it because it's a Kickstarter project, and some of the crazy rewards people can get. If I'm not mistaken, if someone were to pitch a certain amount, they actually get to pick like a show from Nickelodeon, and you'd make a whole song about that.
Absolutely. We actually had as a You Pick a Nicktoon. It was $100 on the pledge, but it sold out really fast. But it doesn't mean that I won't, maybe I might add in a song or two or something like that. But it would just be like any song that, any show that you remember, you feeling the nostalgia, you want to be able to support the project. That's just the best way for me to contribute, to say thanks.
That's what's up. And so we got 45 years of Nickelodeon as a whole, man. And to you, what are some of the most standout shows that you'd like to highlight?
Well, of course, we can start with the Nicktoons, but the main three that started in 1990, which is Doug, Ren and Stimpy, and the Rugrats. And the reason why that was so significant is because that was the first time they actually put animation of their own on the network. So there was just that, and then there's all the live shows, like, you can't do that on television, which is where Slime was originated from. Of course, the game shows Double Dare, Legend of Hidden Temple, Nick Arcade. It just was a place that you could feel like you were a kid.
That's what's up. I like it. So in regards to the project, it's not only animated. Like, we could theoretically see something like iCarly or Drake and Josh.
Yeah, it's very possible. I mean, I got some stuff that goes like from Global Guts to the Mystery Files of Shelby Woo to Land of the Lost. I'm literally going to go through from 1979 just to give you guys a trip of, just in case if you didn't actually get a chance to experience the opportunity, I would like to rehash that. Just be like, let's see how far they came and the accolades they had.
That's what's up. And I understand that you are a nerdcore artist, right? And that encompasses like the whole medium, right? Like games, movies, shows, etc. How did you get into that?
Well, to be honest, I never really knew that it actually existed online until later on, about 2015. I was actually doing video game type of raps and things like that. Then when I found a community that was on the internet from like YouTube and various people going from Comic-Cons, like from Mega Ran to MC Chris and various other people in the genre. In 2015, when I actually went to my first Comic-Con, I ran into artists that were like, hey, you can do stuff like that? That's really cool. And then eventually, later on in 2017, I debuted as Player One or Mark Cooper at UMACon in Detroit. And then the rest is history from here.
That's what's up, dude. And, that is something really interesting because nerdcore to me is like a very interesting subsection of hip hop in the sense that a lot of the fans aren't necessarily hip hop fans. And also just from what I've seen, a lot of like underground artists or mainstream artists aren't necessarily doing nerdcore. Could you kind of speak on that? Because you kind of occupy both lanes a little bit.
Oh, sure. So the best way to explain that would be that nerd culture is in a lot of things. It's actually been in everything, to be honest. If we go to the 80s, where it comes to parody is also part of nerdcore. So that's like your Weird Al Yankovics and everybody there. Don't forget that Wu-Tang Clan was also very focused on Japanese type of references. You got your MF Doom, which is from Marvel. Then you got Kool Keith. You got Logic that brought in, Rick and Morty types of stuff. And Steve Blum, which is the voice of the robot from Toonami. Yeah. Okay. There's just many of it. Even Childish Gambino was in it a little bit.
Oh,
when he was starting out. That was when the Freaks and Geeks era, and then he was doing the I'm Not a Rapper mixtapes, and it just was all over. It's just people just didn't know it was an actual name to it. So the fact that they didn't know there was a name for it, there was people who already had those influences, but they just didn't know that, hey, there's people who are really focused on that. And the crazy part is not just rap, it's in rock and roll. Like the Megas do, Mega Man covers, and then I think it's Oakley Dokley, which is a whole band of Ned Flanders that do heavy metal. You know what I mean? It's all over. Even Cybertronic Spree, where are a band that do covers, but they dress up as Transformers. So it's just looking out there, and you can see really cool things happening.
That's what's up, man. And, specifically when it comes to your style of music, is there anything in particular that you are like most strong, or like a favorite thing that you like to rap about?
Well, to be honest, just like anything in hip hop, we always like to remember or, make music about the things in our lives. So mine is more of the nostalgic aspect. So I rap about stuff like from Transformers to Power Rangers to, like different types of animes, comic, science fiction, pop culture. It's just things that, I feel that everybody can relate to, because either they grew up with me with this, or they have, their own kids that'll be like, hey, these are things I used to like when I was growing up. And then you could be able to relate with that. And that's the reason why I make sure my music is all ages, because that way all kids can be able to pick it up and be like, oh, this is really awesome. Hey, dad, hey, mom, didn't you grow up with this? Yeah, I remember that. And then they always feel like they can bond as a family when it comes to the music.
That's what's up, man. And I know that, your music definitely can kind of like cross some media barriers, right? Have you ever been like recognized by some of these companies behind it, or some of the actors behind the properties that you rap about?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've been recognized by a good amount of the Power Rangers for the Ranger raps I was doing, like from Walter Jones, JDF, Blake Foster, just to name a few of them off the top of my head here. And it's just an overall, great experience, because when you're performing at Comic-Cons, chances are the things and properties you're talking about, individuals who are involved or making the show or any of those are always there. Like one of the greatest experiences I remember is that I got a chance to meet the composers of Dragon Ball Z. Oh, wow. And not only got a chance to meet with them, but I've also got a chance to perform, even do a couple tracks on some of the projects and things. Like that was just like an overall, blown away experience, because I remember all their music since I was a kid. So it just works out.
Yeah, no doubt. And when it comes to the composition of like an album for you, right? I know you got the Orange Tape coming out. I know you've had some like Power Rangers theme stuff. Do you kind of try to keep on an album to album basis just something totally consistent, in a sense, like everything this is Nickelodeon, everything this is going to be like video games or something like that?
I'm glad you asked that question. What I actually did was called the Player One series, which is a 6-album project that I did for 7 years. So it's a continuation. It's like being trapped in a video game that's called Nerdcore. And then I get a villain that's named Major Label. You get what I'm saying? And it's like trapping all the nerds in the game. And the concept I took from that was Gerald's Field. And I called that the Land of the Lost Players, because in Hey Arnold, there's a part where, Gerald and Arnold wanted to play baseball, but they're tired of playing in the street. So they found this vacant lot. So the vacant lot is symbolizing, okay, we found something that we feel that we can belong in our own community, cleaned it up, make it look nice. But then later people walk by and be like, hey, what's this lot here? Yeah. And then be like, oh, we're going to do the same thing that you're doing. So it's almost like, think of Revenge of the Nerds. Instead of the frats coming into the nerd space and destroying it, they're like, hey, give me this Goku, give me this Naruto. I'm into Marvel now. And that's what it felt like. So Gerald's Field is like people are finally seeing something come together that they laughed at before. And now is something that could be a commodity.
Nice. I love it. And, you've always kind of been known as the guy with the power glove, right? And so what's the story behind that?
So in the Power Glove, it's the second party album, which is called the Allspark. So the Allspark word means all combined. So the way I did it is that I used the Power Glove as in talking to different, childhood heroes. Like I have like voices of Megatron and Goku and various other people in the album talking to me during the journey. So what I did is it's like a save point is what I'm doing. So it's like the Power Glove was not, it was before its time. and when it actually came out. And then what I did was I just wanted to combine this together, as in like, this is my nostalgia feeling talking. This is how I store everything. And it just makes it a really creative, adaptation to the story. And then when it goes to the third album, I get the left-handed Power Glove, which is up here. Okay. But the thing is, it's they never made a left-handed Power Glove ever, but I'm left-handed. So I made it a journey of the next album to find the left-handed Power Glove. So that way I can complete both gloves to complete the game. So I just made it a journey all the way through, just saying I need to deliver the Allspark and that's dope. And just make it, just a fun experience.
You should keep it going. Get like a Power Shinguard, Power.
Well, I got some really cool things in the works here with certain visuals are coming soon, so you'll love it.
That's what's up, man. And of course, like behind us, we got some amazing memorabilia, dude. Is there anything that you are most proud of, or a couple even to own?
Well, there's a lot of really cool things I was able to grab. One of them was really, really cool is this one right here. Is that because right now I'm actually in filming process of being an actual Power Ranger. And this is what the figure looks like. And I think it's just super awesome to be able to say, hey, I get to play a character that looks like that. Like, that's one of my most prized I was able to find in Philly when I was out at Go-Go Ranger Station. So it was found in a toy bin and it was just there. And I was like, it's made for me.
So wait. You found this in a bin, right? And this is so this is like, but is it a custom Ranger figure or it's not? Okay.
No, because we adapted the Sentai series, just like any other Power Rangers there. There's just many different other series in Japanese that's making adaptations in America.
Okay, that's kind of nuts, man. And so you are is this your foray into acting, or have you done it before?
Actually, it's my first time as a main role. I have done stunt double stuff on other Ranger projects where I'm the putty and I'm getting beat up. Just like anything else, it's just super fun. But this is my first time actually, being an actual main character.
Sorry, is there any kind of special preparation that you're doing for your acting role?
Well, the best thing I've been doing is that later on this weekend, we're getting ready to do ADR. So it's like all the, Sentai footage that's being used. So I get to be the person to be like, it'd be like a champion of the force, Elephant Ranger. I get to do that and then do all the sound effects and things.
That's crazy. So you guys are doing it real Power Ranger style in that sense that you guys are going to be using the actual Japanese Sentai footage and then using that for the fan series?
Yes, and we also have it where we're in full suits as well for a lot of the other shots also. So it's going to be very, very fun. It's my first time ever doing something like this, and it's just like a childhood dream, to be honest.
That's awesome. Have you, because I know you work with a lot of, Detroit underground rappers. Is that something that you've ever considered, like doing a more traditional MC route?
Well, I have done it for a while. I've been doing music for about almost 20 years. So a lot of people know me for either the beat battles or, like just regular hip hop. But I've always merged different, comic references and things like that throughout a lot of my career. But I love the focus here because then it feels like I can fully be myself. But I like to apply them the best way possible.
No doubt, man. No doubt. And I know that you've gotten to work with a lot of Detroit Underground contemporaries, right? Like Ms. Corona, Fat Father, etc. All, really great MCs in their own right. How did those collaborations really come about? And how did you kind of cement yourself as a producer in that lane?
Well, to be honest, the best way I did that was I was in a lot of the Detroit scene. Like I've seen a lot of the shows. Like I would be at March Madness, Beat Battle, shouts to Uncle P and Detroit Rap. And I've been involved in a lot of those people in that community for a long time. So after going to so many shows and meeting with so many individuals, they're like, hey, I really like the beats that you have. And sometimes it's about reaching out. Like saying, hey, you working on a project, I have some beats for you. And you just learn that aspect as you get into marketing and, cementing yourself and be like, hey, this is what I do. I'm not going to be rude about it. But if you do need anything, let me know. And then eventually those calls come in because of being consistent.
No doubt. And, you've kind of done a lot of producing on both fronts, right? Like both for the underground rappers and also for not a lot of nerdcore artists as well. For you, how does it really come about for you to work with an artist as a producer rapper relationship, and does it differ between the nerdcore and the conventional rapper?
Well, to be honest with you, it's a little bit in the same. Like all the artists have their own, niches and cliches of how exactly they want to run with stuff. Nerdcore's a lot faster because they're very consistent where it comes to releasing things. Maybe they release a new track weekly or bi-weekly or monthly or any of those. So you always got to be on your toes when it comes to that. They do come out with more singles than I would say than the average rappers you see on the underground portion, because they're trying to make a complete project, versus where it comes to Nerdcore, they may be doing something for this particular point in time.
Okay, that's what's up, man. And I know that you've also been, a pretty big gamer too, right? And actually your biggest track on Spotify right now is a Mortal Kombat themed track. If you want to give some, love to some of your favorite games and, what are your favorite games to make music about?
Oh yeah, sure. So my favorite games, of course, I'm gonna go with the Halo series. I've been a fan of those. I've been a fan of okay. This is where everybody watches to make sure. I'm a big fan of the Mario series, the Donkey Kong stuff. I love, first person shooters quite a bit. Of course, I love my RPGs and RTS strategy games such as like Skyrim and Elder Scrolls, and just things that can allow you to, vibe and, keep the, adrenaline running with that.
Okay, that's what's up. I'm kind of curious, what are your favorite Halo entries in specific?
Oh, it's definitely going to be Halo 2. For sure.
2? Halo
2 is probably my most favorite because I got a chance in 2015 to meet the person who did the guitar solo for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was at a Game SoundCon in LA. And that's a convention where it's like everybody who's a film, like a game composer or an animation or anything, they're all there.
Is that song? I'm sorry, dude, because I know the games, but I'm not really know the composition like that. Is that the one was like?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Okay, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. How about for movies? I know you've done some stuff on movies. What are some of your favorite movies?
Well, so I would say series wise, like I love the Matrix series. I love I'm one of those kind of. So like, from the 80s movies, like of course I love things like RoboCop, the Rocky series, Terminator, obscure stuff like maybe even like The Running Man. And then, like I really enjoy those elements of them because they just give you chills. So that's what I really enjoy about those.
That's cool. And I'm going to bring up some kind of portion of maybe it's a little bit contentious, but I just want your take on it. There's some movies that I feel like it's almost very prototypical for a rapper to rap about, like Goodfellas, The Godfather. But if you're making full songs about that, no one's really going to label you as a nerdcore type guy. Whereas if you were to do a Matrix song, that'd be more nerdcore, right? Do you ever kind of see that kind of distinction when it comes to certain media kind of getting a little bit more of a pass, like this is conventional or this is nerdcore?
Well, not necessarily. A lot of it could be considered that, because the thing is about nerdcore, it's about a focus about a certain fandom is really what it is. See, the thing is there are rappers that will reference those. And when they reference particular things like from Goodfellas or Scarface or anything like that, it's just a reference. But the whole song has nothing to do with that. And that is where the separation is. So, for example, if I decided to rap about Terminator, I'm talking about T-1000, and then it'll be references of John Connor and Sarah Connor, and you know what I mean, and that kind of thing. Yeah.
No, I'm with that 100%, man. This is actually just an OG pet peeve of mine with Jaden Smith. When he was kind of coming up, he released a song called Goku, and I don't even think he has any Dragon Ball bars except he says I'm feeling like Goku, and that's the extent of it.
Right. I mean, it's through all of media for that. You know what I mean? That's the part about when it comes to nerdcore is just separate there, is because now people can look up that song and be like, okay, it's about that. And then there's a bigger community for that, which is why, nerdcore has its own its own particular boundaries where people can be able to listen to, which is great for the internet boom itself, because what people don't understand is that even though there are a lot of artists out there in the world, you still you still have the choice to listen to whatever you would like to listen to. And it's free reign. It's not like you have to listen to what everything's on the radio or what your friend's listening to down the street. You have your own Spotify, your Apple Music, and you can make your own playlist of the things that you love. And that's what's great about that.
That's dope. I love it. Do you feel like there is some kind of additional pressure when it comes to making nerdcore just because some of the fans are so passionate? Like, for instance, you could be like, oh, I'm feeling like Trunks doing my Kamehameha. And people are like, oh, he didn't do a Kamehameha. I'm like, no, in the movie Bio Broly, he did do a Kamehameha, but it's a non-canon movie, you know what I'm saying? Just like that. Do you ever have like those kind of thoughts, or do you get comments like that? Does it affect you at all?
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, we're all worried about that kind of thing. When you're a nerd and you're talking nerd stuff, they're going to check you. And now they have like different TikToks and videos where they'll argue a certain point because of, continuity of a particular fandom. Like, people really defend their fandoms now. So when it comes to that, it's like, you stick to your truths, but that's why I always rap about the things that I grew up with, because then it's not a pandering situation like I'm going to give you a Demon Slayer reference when in reality I haven't really seen it or know that fandom, which is called a wiki rap, which is basically going to Wikipedia and rapping about, literally rapping about that. Like, I'm about to do a Full Metal Alchemist song. Okay, great. And then next to there's a song, which is, but it's to each his own. Some people do it for the fan service. Some other people do it for pandering. Sometimes people just want to remember what they watched, but that's certain things that are seen before.
Sure. And so just to be clear, you wouldn't really consider yourself like a wiki type dude, like even for stuff like for instance the Mortal Kombat one, even if let's say you're doing the Mortal Kombat song, the best way for you to like kind of remember all the old characters, would it be more so to fire up the game again, or even check the wiki for like the names of moves, because sometimes that's not totally obvious, stuff like that?
Well, what I would do is normally I would try to, rewatch them or review them again when it comes to that certain thing. Like stuff like Mortal Kombat and things you grew up with. I mean, those are staples. If you don't know who Scorpion and Sub-Zero or Liu Kang are, like those are things I've really grew up with, as in watched the movies 100 times and, that kind of thing. So what I would do in that aspect, like let's say it's something like really rare, like maybe like Pinwheel, for example, for Nickelodeon for 1979. I wasn't born then, but I know about a little bit of the commercials and the Silver Ball era and things like that. And as a teacher, I always like to research anyway, but I also want to know the reasons why these things are what they are. So it's one thing when you're doing it for that one time and just be like, I just need it for right now. And then you don't surface this thing again. I look at it and I'm like, okay, you can't do that on television, that's where Slime came from. But I also didn't know that was a Canadian programming. I also didn't know this is the same actor that was in this. You know what I mean? It's involving yourself in the actual fandom itself and giving the respects by actually knowing about it. And that's the part a lot of people get confused.
Nice. I like that a lot, man. Great. Very insightful. If you had any kind of advice for someone that wanted to get into producing today, what would you sort of have?
Well, my best advice I would give is to make sure you're doing it because you love it. And you also want to make sure to stay consistent. A lot of people love the beats and everything, but they might not love the road of the grind. And they always feel that there should be a light at the end of the tunnel at some point. But people need to understand that sometimes it might be not there. Yeah. So you have to make sure that you have it in your mind that I'm going to be consistent whether there is a light at the end of the tunnel or not.
Nice. I love it. And I noticed, right next to you, we have a streaming setup. So you stream, and what do you mainly stream?
Well, I do a segment that's called Mark Cooper Monday. and it's a review show where I actually have younger and newer nerdcore artists or any other artists. They submit their tracks, and I give actual constructive feedback. And I don't mean feedback as in I'm talking about the delivery or the content or anything. I'm just talking about, the mix, what they can do to get better with those different ways of writing stuff. Just a really, positive environment. So other people who just start out are not hearing the, hey, just keep doing your thing, and then they just keep on moving. And I just try my best to make it a safe space for everybody.
Okay, that's awesome, man. Because, you have 20 years of experience. So to some degree, man, like you're a little bit of a, like, to some degree, you could enter a little bit of a mentor space, right? And do you feel like there's any up and coming nerdcore rappers people should know about?
Well, now that one's definitely going to be tough because there's a lot of them. There's quite a few. Coming up. Okay, let me think here. Because this is one of those everybody's watching. It's definitely coming up. Okay, so there's one called, his name is Shinky that's out there. He's definitely got a really bouncy, dope vibe for sure. He's definitely great. Another one is Flint 4K. He really focuses on the Pokemon portion of nerdcore. Like he's bonkers. He's definitely great. Great producer, great animator. He's awesome. Another one would be, they're actually a duo. They're a couple. Ty Weezy and Omega Red. They go as Astrofusion, so they do a lot of different music as well. Like, man, there's just so many, from like Suyo to Keita Weeb to Timpin' Music for the chip space. Just trying to think. Okay, there's quite a few. Like there's Eclipse, there's Mr. Memeologist, there's Mazu, there's Elemental, there's Nina Hope, she's a dope singer. Pure Chaos Music, JK. It's just so many. I just know a lot of them off the top.
Perfect.
But if you go on there on Monday, you'll be able to see all those people.
Okay, man, that's what's up. And, earlier you had mentioned that you had, performed at stuff like UMACon and other conventions. Do you feel like, how does someone start, or how did you start with performing at these conventions? And how has that impacted your career as a nerdcore artist?
Well, to be honest, it started off with going to comic conventions just to enjoy it and have a good time. And then you would see that they did have shows available. The next thing you know, you'd be like, hey, how do you perform on these? And then they give you the particular protocols. And then that's when you perfect the craft, get everything together. The next thing you know, they get the call, and then you just rip it up.
Awesome. I'm with it. Well, Mark, I think we're getting pretty close to wrapping up the interview. If you had any kind of final positive message for anyone who may be watching.
Okay. Well, you want me to look at camera here?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, the most positive message I would like to say is that do what you love to do. Just because everybody else is not doing, you're not doing the same thing as everybody else. You're not on the same journey or the same path, whether it's slow or fast. Just remember to always do what you love and always have faith.
I love it, Mark. And all of his links will be down in the description below. Check him out. Peace out, everybody. Appreciate your time, Mark.
Likewise.
Thank you.